Hello all, in this video we will look at the application of constant step size gradient descent to minimization of general smooth functions that could be non-convex. We begin our discussion with the definition of epsilon stationarity. In the earlier videos we were mainly concerned with finding t, which is the number of oracle calls required to ensure that the optimality gap is below a certain threshold. That is, f of x capital T minus f of x star less than equal to epsilon. This is not viable for general possibly non-convex objectives. In general, finding the minimum of a non-convex function f is hard and definitely not possible using algorithms like gradient descent. But that does not mean that gradient descent is entirely useless in general cases. Since gradient descent only uses gradient information, it is also unreasonable for us to expect it to find a globally optimum point, which by definition requires global function information more than just the gradient. But we do expect the gradient descent to find a stationary point, that is the one where gradient vanishes, so that gradient of f of x star is equal to 0. Recall that for convex problems x star is the global minimum, but for general problems it is only the stationary point. Of course, a stationary point can be a global minimum, but it can also be a local minimum or a local maximum or a saddle point. Of these, the local maximum is mostly ruled out unless your starting point itself is the local maximum. So given that gradient descent and all first order algorithms are only capable of reaching a stationary point, let us modify our definition of oracle complexity. So instead of counting the number of oracle calls to reach an epsilon close to the optimal, we will count the number of calls required to reach an epsilon stationary point, that is a point that satisfies norm of gradient of f of x less than epsilon. Note of course that the analysis done for the general case is also applicable if f is actually convex. We will also use a slightly different problem parameter here, which will be useful later on, which is that f of x1 minus f of x star is less than bf. This will be used instead of b, which was the distance of x1 from x star. So with this modified definition, let us analyze the gradient descent algorithm. We have the following oracle complexity result for gradient descent. Under assumption A2, which is that f is L smooth, the oracle complexity of the constant step size gradient descent is order bf L by epsilon square for step size eta equal to 1 over L. Let us look at the proof of this statement. We will compare this result with that obtained for convex case later. The proof for the general case is actually simpler as it involves fewer steps. The first step is the same as step 3 of gradient descent proof and involves establishing the non-increasing function value property of gradient descent applied to smooth problems. So we have seen all these steps already. We will use the quadratic upper bound for f at xt and xt plus 1 to obtain f of xt plus 1 equal to f of xt minus eta times gradient f of xt less than equal to f of xt minus eta times 1 minus eta L by 2 norm square of gradient f of xt. As you can see, this is the exact same way we use the quadratic upper bound when analyzing the convex functions. Again, assuming that eta is less than 1 by L, we have that 1 minus eta L by 2 is greater than half. So we have the bound f of xt plus 1 less than equal to f of xt minus eta by 2 norm square of gradient f of xt. So we see that convex or not, the sequence f of xt is always a non-increasing one. And in fact, it is strictly decreasing unless gradient f of xt is equal to 0, which only happens at the stationary point. So if you are at an arbitrary point, then the function value should always decrease till you reach a point where the gradient is actually 0. So let us keep this inequality in mind for now. The next step is simply the telescopic sum. All we need to do is sum up the inequality for t is equal to 1 to capital T and cancel the intermediate terms so as to obtain eta by 2 sum over t from 1 to capital T norm square of gradient f x t less than equal to f of x1 minus f of x capital T plus 1. Now unlike the gradient descent, we cannot drop the last term f of x capital T plus 1 as it is not necessarily negative. But one thing is for sure, f of x capital T plus 1 is greater than equal to f of x star, since x star is by definition the smallest value of f. So we can use that bound here to make the right hand side less than equal to f of x1 minus f of x star, and we assumed that this was less than equal to bf. So we have this bound on the total value of the gradient. Now unfortunately for the non-convex case, the gradient norm does not decrease monotonically, so we cannot replace the left hand side with the last term only. However, one implication of the bound is that the minimum value of the gradient norm square is less than equal to the average of the gradient norm square, which is 1 over t summation t to 1 norm square of gradient f x t square, which is less than equal to 2bf by eta capital T. So we have used the fact that the minimum is always less than equal to the average. This suggests that we should use eta to be as large as possible so that the bound becomes as small as possible. Therefore, we obtain eta equal to 1 over L. We cannot go higher because in the first step we required eta is less than 1 by L. Taking square root on both sides, we have the final bound that the minimum of the gradients from 1 to capital T is less than equal to square root of 2bf L by capital T. So unfortunately in this case it is not possible to obtain the bound on the gradient of f of x capital T directly, and we have to contend with this only. So the bound in this case is saying that the minimum of the gradient norms calculated at iterates decays as 1 over square root t. We can also get the oracle complexity from here by equating this quantity to epsilon so as to obtain that capital T is equal to 2bf L by epsilon square. So this is the required result. Having obtained the oracle complexity of constant step size gradient descent for the general case, let us compare it with the convex case. Of course, we do not have the guarantee about global minimum here, only regarding the stationary point. But is there a difference beyond that? Does the gradient descent algorithm exhibit faster convergence if the function is convex? The comparison is a bit tricky because we are now dealing with two different metrics in two different proofs. We use the gradient norm for the general case and we use the optimality gap for the convex case. Now using the optimality gap for the general case is out of question because there is no guarantees involving f of x star in general. But we can try to align the metric used for convex case with that used here. So what we need is a modified analysis of the convex case where we use gradient norm as a metric. Then let us look at the modified derivation of the oracle complexity for the convex case. While we have already seen the analysis, we need to carry out a different analysis because we want the result in terms of gradient norm so that we can compare it with the general result. Our analysis will basically be a borrowed version of two proofs that we have seen so far. First, even though f is convex, we can still apply the analysis we did for the general smooth case. So we will go back to the point where we did the telescopic summation, and before that point we had norm square of the gradient less than equal to 2 over eta f of xt minus f of xt plus 1. Now instead of summing from 1 to capital T, we will sum from t by 2 to capital T and then take the minimum so as to yield min over t from capital T by 2 to capital T norm square of the gradient less than equal to f of x capital T by 2 minus f of x star divided by eta capital T, where we have replaced x1 with xt by 2 and t with t by 2. Then since f is convex, we have already derived this bound in the last few lectures, which is that f of xt by 2 minus f of x star less than equal to bl by t. This bound is still applicable because it was derived for all t. So we have just replaced t with t by 2 here. So substituting this value, we obtain minimum of the gradient over t by 2 to t is less than equal to 4bl by eta t square. Setting eta equal to 1 over L and then taking square root, we have the minimum of the gradient less than equal to 2 square root b times L by capital T. So if we have been able to do a slightly different analysis of the gradient descent so as to get the slightly different kind of result, but this kind of result allows us to compare it with the general result. So recall that the general result was minimum of the gradient over 1 to capital T is less than equal to square root of 2bf L by T. Let us ignore the dependence on the problem parameters. Also, there is a minimization of the gradient norm from 1 to capital T in one case and from T by 2 to T in the other. You do not expect your algorithm to have small gradient norm towards the beginning, so the left hand sides are not very different either. The key difference between the bounds, however, is the dependence on T. In the general convex case, we have 1 over T, while in the general case, we have 1 over square root T. So this is how convexity has resulted in faster convergence. If we compare the Oracle complexity, we would also see that we are getting 1 over epsilon in the convex case and 1 over epsilon square in the general case. So the general case requires many more iterations, and those are just to reach the stationary point. So that is all for this video. We have seen the performance of constant step size gradient descent for general functions. In the next video, we will start looking at more well-behaved functions that are not only smooth but also strongly convex.